Hello, everyone. Welcome to year 4 of the OpenTTD series. I believe it's year 4. I started in 2002, so yeah, it would be year 4. Even though each episode's really only supposed to be a year, last episode was interesting in that things ran ahead of time. So what we're going to do is look at the profits here. And so far, things are going good, obviously. But we're going to start that bus line I think we were talking about into what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the bus line into a anthill, I think. Eventually, I'm going to run a monorail all the way to Fort Tillydor there, but right now I'm going to run a bus line to a anthill. Because I'm sure they'd like to have at least a bus. There we go. I'm going to have the buses essentially meet in the middle here. I'm going to need to figure out where to place my bus depot as well, actually. I'm probably going to place the bus depot in the middle here. And then that's going to mean I'm going to use a bus. And I have all sorts of buses to choose from, so I want only passengers. All sorts of road vehicles to choose from. Hmm. The Regal bus has a better speed. Reliability is also higher, so I'm probably going to go for the Regal. And I'm going to also just run it, yeah. I'm also going to run it this way, yeah. I'm going to run it this way, I think, yeah. There we go. And that just helps me get more buses, essentially. And all this is going to do is essentially just help me in the long run. Is it'll allow me to basically run buses. And I don't know how effective the buses are going to be here at all, because I don't normally, because I'm not, didn't, this is this is the first time using buses in the playthrough, and I'm already 9 road vehicles down, and I'm only now using them. So we shall see. We shall see. This stop is running out of passengers, it seems. Yeah, we're having the bus circle part of the monorail loop as redundancies, and so people can transfer back and forth as needed. Which is obviously very helpful when running these street-based transit modes. Even though the monorails are supposed to be elevated, because of how OpenTTD works, they're coded as road vehicles, so they'll get halted by other road vehicles, essentially. Not at all realistic, but it is what it is. And I'm actually going to new vehicle. I'm going to go back to the Regal bus. I'm going to buy vehicle, and then I'm going to control clone and share the orders between the two. But yeah, with the challenge, you can use basically anything that classifies as a road vehicle in the game. And I'm most curious to see what everyone does, of course. Obviously, this bus stop has nobody because the bus hasn't stopped at it yet. So yeah, we'll get there in due time. And what I'm going to probably need to do is actually make another bus. The issue with buses that I have is their reliability. Even though they're more flexible, they're not the most reliable of critters to run around, essentially. They're not, they're not as reliable as like the monorails or something, essentially. But you can have, I think, yeah, you can only have one at a time load. No, you can have two at a time load, it seems. Interesting. Obviously, I still prefer the monorail more, though. But in this year, I'm just getting the bus services running, Because they too fill an important gap, because I can't just run monorails everywhere. I mean, I could, but that's not realistic. This transit network needs to be multimodal. The population is growing very well in the city, it seems. Oh dear, come on. Local authority, yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's outstanding. It's like the best that I've had it. And I'm already on the road to that first million, and it's not even been like a full year yet. Though I see some of the trains are starting to break down, which isn't good. That's one of the apparent downsides with the rail, of course, is if the trains break down, then you're kind of fucked. Now, obviously, what I can do is I can start to put down some transfer stops as well. Essentially, that'll just allow me to run the monorails in more places, and the buses in more places as well. And do is basically run buses around multiple areas of the town here. What I'm going to do is basically put more bus stops around the town, just to kind of have. And what that's going to do is allow me to service areas that can't be on the rail line to extend my coverage here, per se. It's already September and I'm halfway through the episode. Lovely. What we're going to do is essentially, I'm going to probably put another depot over here, because using multiple depots kind of helps, essentially. There we go. It just kind of helps with things. What I'm going to do is allow me to run more of a proper bus network, essentially. Hmm. I'm trying to root out in my head how this bus line's going to work. Because there are like multiple bus lines. And how is this city growing? This city isn't growing. It just looks bigger because this city is growing. Hmm. Let's build a road. Let's connect them with the roads. And let's do that, just so we have a connection point that doesn't get severed or anything. Hmm. Hmm. Obviously, this area is going to have a monorail come to it eventually. What I'm going to do is try to find places where I can put bus stops at that'll actually work in the context of everything. I might put a bus stop in here just to kind of have it. What I'm going to do is out of this depot, I'm going to buy another Regal bus maybe, or maybe one of these two. So looking at the reliability, they can carry a lot of people apparently. So maybe not. I'm just going to buy another AdTrans bus. Or well, no, a Regal bus. Let me find another place for it, of course. Pause the game and look around my route a little bit. Probably just gonna have it come through Little Mean Hill branch, and then I'm also gonna take it through Little Mean Hill Exchange. I'm gonna take it through probably through a Little Mean Hill transfer, honestly. And then I'm gonna also need to build another bus stop in this area here then. And that'll allow me to go through lower Little Mean Hill to yeah, upper Little Mean Hill, essentially. Hmm. Let's see how I'm gonna tackle this. Because right now I'm kind of thinking more like a crosstown bus network, essentially. Because Coda does have a crosstown networks, of course. And what I'm going to do is actually probably put another stop here. And that'll allow me to go to here and then basically send it back the way it came. So it went to Lower Mean Hill Exchange, and then yeah, it's going to go to here, essentially. Yeah, that'll be good. Then I'm going to just full load any cargo, unload all, take cargo, unload all, take cargo, unload all, take cargo. Essentially, this will just help it. This will operate like one of those not transfers, one of those crosstowns that my local transit company, Coda, has. I'm trying to be somewhat realistic, but I'm also just not using good planning in general because it's realistic to not use good planning based off of the fact that I'm from America. I'm going to run this as a boss line that isn't as frequent, I don't think. That'll kind of allow me to do, yeah. That'll kind of allow me to do that. I'm just going to stop this vehicle here and let this one get out like a stop or two. So I can have that sparring frequency that you see on Coda bus lines that are typically cross towns, which in real life would be anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour to wait for the fucking bus. Let's look at the profits here. As you can see, my transit lines are paying back, but not by much. I don't think the buses are going to really pay back for each other really well. Anyway, I'm also going to probably call this an episode. It's a little shorter, but that's simply because of the fact that I'm using, you know, the, going off the in-game years here, and I don't want to take, I don't want to take too long into the next year, essentially, if I want each episode to be a proper year. Because, yeah, next episode we're going into year 5, I believe. You can see the profits only slightly increased just because of how much I've spent. but the revenue's pretty good too. Obviously, most of the spending there came from the new vehicles, like buying all those buses essentially. And eventually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start building monorails in these other two cities probably. So look at Nantenor has a population of 26,940, and this one has a population of in Dead Grove Rivers has 17,650 as a population. So what I'm probably going to do is build a monorail in Nantenor first. Hmm, interesting. It's interesting because I'm trying to see how much I can grow without road vehicles, and yeah, this is a struggle. This is becoming a bit of a struggle here. So what I'm probably going to have to do is just build separate road vehicle or monorail lines in each of these cities. Those two cities have the exact same population, 26,940. So what I'm going to probably do is start basically building monorails in these disconnected cities, and eventually I'll link them up as well. But the goal of the challenge is again to use purely road vehicles, so I have to stick within the nature of the challenge. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the episode, please like, please subscribe, please comment, you know the drill. Bye!